Hi, I'm Chris Haigh and this is the Fiddle channel, and today we're going to play Why Don't You Love Me Like You Used to Do. Why Don't You Love Me was a #1 hit for Hank Williams in 1950, and it's a fairly standard one apart from some rather tricky crooked timing, which we'll go into a bit later. I'm going to give you the intro and the melody of the verse and chorus, and I will also show you the steel and fiddle solos from the original and give you some ideas for accompaniment. So let's start off with the intro, and I do believe that when playing Hank Williams songs, for a fiddle player the single most important thing is the intro. Get that right and everything else will be well. And they're usually no more than 4 bars long. They absolutely set up the song, so getting it strong and clean and exactly as the original is what you're really aiming at. So we got a kick-off. And I would do down, up, up, I think. So we start in the next bit on a down bow. 1, 2, 2. Lift off, and then come down with the 2nd over 3rd for that note. And notice that the timing of this, it's a 4/4 bar, a 2/4 bar, and 2 4/4 bars. So there's effectively 2 beats missing, which is, once you know this melody, it doesn't sound odd at all, although there are bits later on that do sound odd. Right, getting into the verse. You might well not ever actually play the verse, but I think particularly because of the crookedness of this, it's well worth knowing exactly what's going on in the verse. 1, 2, 3, 4. Three, four. Two, three, four. So the tricky bit here is the lead in from the verse to the chorus, or to the bridge, you might call it. So it's the same as the intro, but instead of holding, that's the 2 4 bar, instead of holding that, we're going straight into. So if you have in your head the words, why don't you love me like you used to do, why don't you love me like you used to do, and then it's straight into the run-in to the chorus or bridge. Okay, now it's a good idea to be able to play the verse and chorus and to add some chord notes. So I'm going to do it again, and this time, each time we go to a new chord, I will add a 2nd note below it or above it. That will help to support the chord, show you what the chord is, and will also be a lead in towards how you can do an accompaniment. So I'm going to do the intro and verse again, this time with the backing, and I'm going to add 1 extra note as each chord changes. So for each of those melody notes, I picked an adjacent note which was part of the triad of the chord, the root third or fifth of the chord that it had changed to. And it's a very valuable thing for a fiddle player in this style to have at your command a lot of different note pairs for each chord that you can play automatically. And I've got several videos on this. 2-note chord shapes is one of them. There's also there's a video on a thing called the scale of sixths, which is a way of using a single scale that goes through the whole tune to select your second note automatically, and that works really well. So having done that, for example, for the beginning of the verse, so if you're starting here, then you could carry on doing rhythm, and then next to the next chord pair, now at this point, that D7 chord, I think you really should fill that with some kind of descending line, and there's lots of different alternatives. That's using the scale of sixths, or just that, or that way you're helping to lead the chords towards where you want them to go, and you're kind of doing the job of the accompanist. So yes, the accompaniment, it can be chops, it can be long notes, or it can be kind of melodic phrases played mostly in the gaps, but often cutting across the vocal, but played quietly so they're not getting in the way. In a lot of styles of music, playing across the vocals is not a good idea, but it is fairly standard here. And if you happen to be playing with a pedal steel player, then you have to alternate with a pedal steel player, so you're not playing both at the same time, even if it's only rhythm. So listen to Hank Williams songs and you'll see that the melody lines, the intros, the outros, the verses are all shared one or the other between the steel and the fiddle. Okay, one more time of the verse on just accompaniment, and then we'll have a go at the solo. Now there, obviously, I was switching continuously between different approaches, which is something you wouldn't do normally. But you do have quite a lot of freedom, and I would say there's no point in listening to and learning note for note the original of a fiddle backing part from a Hank Williams song. By all means, learn the style, learn the approach, but no one remembers what the fiddle is doing behind the song, even if they've heard it 100 times. So don't try and do that. Finally, I've transcribed the original fiddle solo, which is just on the bridge, and approximately the original steel solo. The steel does the A parts and the fiddle does the bridge or middle part. So here's the beginning of the steel solo. So we're starting off with second finger over fourth finger. And this is a typical harmony that a steel would do, which the fiddle can do, but not easily. So it's second over fourth, a big stretch. Notice there's a syncopation on almost every note there. So that's the steel solo. Then we go into the fiddle. And here, you can either do 2/4. I find that pretty hard, so I would do 1/3, going to second position. And notice that we're staying pretty close to the melody. So you don't have to be very inventive if you don't want. You just have to find these double stops. I'll just do that again. Then it's the steel again. Like that. Yeah, you could do that as your solo. You could do the whole thing yourself if there's no steel player. Or you could just do the fiddle part if someone else is going to do those parts on the steel. Let's do all of that with the backing. And we'll do the intro first. Here we go. More alternatives for the solo would be to just play the melody yourself and add in a few fills and double stops around that. Or you could take a more modern approach, which would be to improvise a solo fairly freely from the melody, but paying particular attention to getting that 2/4 bar in there and not losing it. So I'll do a final solo where I will improvise it. Okay, I hope you found this useful. If you'd like a copy of the sheet music, then do subscribe to the channel, send me an email. If you join me on Patreon, you can get hold of all of my PDFs, and also there, free on request, is a booklet of, I think it's 20 Hank Williams songs arranged for the fiddle. And it's only £4 to join for a month, and you can take your choice of that booklet or lots of other PDF booklets and all the PDFs from the lessons. Thank you for watching. I'll see you again soon.